Hi, students, let's get started with the subject Social Science, Chapter 5. India, that is Bharat. In India, at a very early time, the spiritual and cultural unity was made complete and became the very stuff of the life of all this great surge of humanity between the Himalayas and the two seas. Sri Aurobindo. Today, the India we know is a modern nation with defined borders, defined states, and a known population. However, it was very different 500 years ago, 2000 years ago, or even 5000 years ago. This region of the world, which we often call the Indian subcontinent, has had many different names and shifting boundaries. We can learn about India's past and evolution from many different sources. Let us explore. In the course of history, India has been called by many names, both by its inhabitants and by visitors from outside. These names come to us from ancient texts, accounts of travelers and pilgrims, and inscriptions. How Indians named India? The Rig Veda is India's most ancient text. As we will see in Chapter 7, it is several thousand years old. It gives the northwest region of the subcontinent the name Sapta Sindhva, that is, the land of the seven rivers. The word Sindhva comes from Sindhu, which refers to the Indus River, or at times to a river in general moving on in time. We see names for other parts of India appear in the literature. The Mahabharata is one of India's most famous texts. We read about it in the theme, our cultural heritage and knowledge traditions. Interestingly, it lists many regions such as Kashmira, more or less today's Kashmir, Kurukshetra, parts of Haryana today, Vanga, parts of Bengal. Pragjyotiha, roughly today's Assam, Kachcha, today's Kutch, Kerala, more or less today's Kerala, and so on. But when do we come across a name for the entire Indian subcontinent? Because ancient Indian texts are difficult to date, this is not an easy question to answer. The Mahabharata uses the terms Bhratavarha and Jambudvipa, and scholars generally agree that this long poem was written from a few centuries BC onward. The first term, Bhratavarha, clearly extends to the entire subcontinent, and the text includes the names of numerous rivers and peoples. Bhratavarha means the country of the Bharats. Bharat is a name that first appears in the Rig Veda, where it refers to one of the main Vedic groups of people. In later literature, several kings named Bharat are mentioned. The second term, Jambudvipa, means the island of the fruit of the jamun tree. This is indeed a common tree native to India, also called jambul tree, Malabar plum tree, etc. Jambudvipa came to mean the Indian subcontinent. In fact, we get a good clue from an Indian emperor. His name is Ashoka and we will meet him later. For now, we can take his date to be about 250 BCE. As we will see, he left us many inscriptions. In one of them, he used the same name, Jambudvipa, to describe the whole of India, which at the time included what is today Bangladesh, Pakistan, as well as parts of Afghanistan. A few centuries later, Bhrata became the name generally used for the Indian subcontinent. For instance, in an ancient text called the Vihu Pura, we read, Uttaram yat samudrasya himbrikeva dekyam varam tad Bhrata menime. The country that lies north of the ocean and south of the snowy mountains is called Bhrata. This name, Bhrata, remains in use even today. In North India, it is generally written as Bharat, while in South India, it is often Bharatam. It is interesting to note that different parts of the country adopted a similar definition for India. For instance, a poem of ancient Tamil literature from about 2000 years ago praises a king whose name is known from Cape Kumari in the south, from the Great Mountain in the north. From the oceans on the east and on the west, you can now recognize the Great Mountain in the north, and it should not be difficult to identify Cape Kumari. It looks like ancient Indians knew their geography well. How foreigners named India. The first foreigners to mention India were the Persians, the ancient inhabitants of Iran. In the 6th century BCE, a Persian emperor launched a military campaign and gained control of the region of the Indus River, which, as we saw, was earlier called Sindhu. So, it is no surprise that in their earliest records and stone inscriptions, the Persians referred to India as Hind, Hidu, or Hindu, which are adaptations in their language of Sindhu. Note that in ancient Persian, Hindu is a purely geographical term. It does not refer here to the Hindu religion. Based on these Persian sources, the ancient Greeks named the region Indoi or Indaic. They dropped the initial letter H of Hindu because this letter did not exist in their Greek language. Sindhu, Hindu, Indoi, Indaic. The ancient Chinese also interacted with India. In several texts, they refer to India as Yintu or Yindu. This word also originally comes from Sindhu in the following manner: content not provided.
ಸಿಂಧು ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೈಂಡು, ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಇಂದು, ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಎಂದು.
Xuanzang, formerly spelled Huanzang, Huanzang, etc., traveled from China to India in the 7th century CE. He visited many parts of India, met scholars, collected Buddhist texts, and returned to China after 17 years. Content not provided. There, he translated the manuscripts he took back with him from Sanskrit into Chinese. Several other Chinese scholars visited India over the centuries. Another Chinese word, also derived from Sindhu, was Tianzhu, but this word could also be understood as heavenly master. This reflects the respect the ancient Chinese had for India as the land of the Buddha. You are probably quite familiar with the more recent term, Hindustan, but you may not know that it was first used in a Persian inscription some 1800 years ago. Later on, this became the term used by most invaders of India to describe the Indian subcontinent. Before we move on, India is an ancient land which has had many names in the course of its history. The names given by the ancient inhabitants of India include Jambudvipa and Bharata. The latter became widespread in time and is the name of India in most Indian languages. Foreign visitors to, or invaders of, India mostly adopted names derived from the Sindhu or Indus River. This resulted in names like Hindu, Indoi, and eventually India. Thanks for watching.